the 9th round of competition in Thursday Night Thunder at iRacing's Kentucky Speedway with Matt Seeger and Toby Estes on the front row. Rick James in the booth with Ryan Pinnell by my side. A bit of a delayed start, if you will. Drivers just making sure they're ready to go. The sun will set, the lights will turn on, and we're going to try to hang on for 130 iRacing laps at the Kentucky Speedway. Ryan Pinnell, I have no idea what to expect, do you?
Kind of, but we'll see. I know Kentucky's a really unique track. Turn 1 and 2, way different than 3 and 4. You have to drive them differently. Honestly, it kind of feels a little like Darlington, although it's shaped completely different. But yeah, I think this is the first time in a long time that Jacob Bradley has not been on pole. So, hey, maybe we'll have a new winner tonight.
Maybe we'll have a new winner. We're going to talk more about how this track is similar, dissimilar from other tracks, because we know the Cup Series doesn't race here anymore. And just to the layman, visually, it looks similar to a lot of other race tracks as well. So we'll talk about those dimensions. We'll get into it. I'm sick of these cars pacing around. I'm ready to go racing. I hope you're ready to go racing as well. Ryan, the anticipation just sits because you have an entire corner just waiting for these cars. And just briefly, right as we're going green, what does that do to your mentality? Does it force a mistake?
Yeah, it'll throw you off. I mean, you're expecting to go green and then they delayed it. So, yeah, definitely throws you off.
There's the green lights. There's the green flag. Let's go racing in the Bluegrass State. Clean and green in the first lap, Ryan, and it's a drag race for the lead. The fan favorite, Matt Seeger on the left-hand side in the Subway machine, and Jake Bradley, the points leader, on his outside, and they're still pacing for that lead.
Yeah, good battle right now between these two. I mean, I don't know if Jacob maybe just had a bad qualifying lap or what, but he's kind of making that middle line work in 3 and 4, which is actually pretty hard to do here as he makes the pass.
Dylan Brewer's in the house. Emily and Trauma are in the house as well. And the points leader, now the race leader, goes purple, 30.24 seconds. Rounding out the top 10, the pride of Kansas City, one Seth Wansing in the Tony the Tiger machine. Goes to the inside of Aaron Edwards. And we got a new follower on the Twitch channel as well. How do you say that? Killer Kane? All right. Welcome to Rick James TV. Ryan, I hope to see this 2x2 racing and high line versus low line all night long. Is that what we should expect?
Yeah, the outside line, it's you can get a really good run coming off the corner exit. Inside line is going to save your tires though, so if it does stay, green flag run, you'll be better off on a long run, but the outside has a lot of speed, especially exiting these corners. Looks like one way up the track there. Couldn't tell who that was.
Looks like Colin McDonough in that 3-9. He's just trying to get his race car in one piece there. Too wide again. Colin McDonough's in the wall. Larry Eberhard goes to his inside, and he's glued to that wall, Ryan. And you know how that goes. The car just gets stuck up there, and it's almost impossible to pull the race car off the wall.
Yeah, it really is. It's almost like a suction effect. I mean, it once you touch it one time, it almost sticks like glue, unfortunately. So tough break there for Colin, but still a long ways to go here tonight at Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, already so much has happened, and we're 6 laps into this race. Points leader, race leader, Jacob Bradley, not running away with this one. Matt Seeger behind him, and Toby Estes running in the 3rd position. Ethan Winters, a TNT rookie, in 4th, and the 2-time champion Tom Sears running in 5th. How about a name we haven't seen in a long time? Where in the world has Brandon Fetterplace been?
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that just shows up when he has nothing else to do, I guess. But he's always fast everywhere he races. So good to see him out here tonight and having a good run so far early on.
Good to see him out here tonight. Absolutely. And I, I'll say this about Fetter Place. When he shows up, he puts in a shift, meaning he's going to be in the top 5, top 10 all night long. And I'll tell you what, Chuck Sweeting reminds me of Brandon Fetter Place because Fetter Place is kind of like a sleeper. You know he's fast, but you don't see him coming. Chuck Sweeting and Brandon Fetter Place. Keep an eye on those two.
Yeah, and fun fact, you said you had a new follower, Killer Kane. That is actually Kenzie's brother. And
Oh, all right.
yeah, so good to see him out here watching. He doesn't understand this racing stuff, so cool to see him watching us, and hopefully all these drivers can put on a show for everybody watching tonight.
Let's see if we can at least dial the lights up here. I think we had it last week as well, but the iRacing update. Nope, that doesn't help anything. Okay. Yeah, the recent iRacing update might have made things just a bit more dim, if that's the right way to put it. We'll try and get this fixed up. Don't worry. I'll do my best here. But thanks for bearing with us. Fry Dog's in the house as well. Let's go, John Fry, all the way on the West Coast, buddy. Good to hear from you. Sam Winters in the house as well, talking about Winters the GOAT. Ethan Winters, the rookie in the number 10 Momo machine, ahead of two-time champion Tom Sears. At the front, Ryan, status quo remains. 5-0 leads, 1-6-8. Outside the top 10, who do you like?
One that I'm keeping my eyes on right now is Tommy Withers. And the reason being is he is 10 seconds off the pace. He knows something, I think, unless he had an issue early on, which I don't see anything saying he did. He might know something about some fuel strategy if this thing stays green. Keep an eye out for him. He won an A-squared race doing that. He's one of the best.
The Pittsburgh Penguins, Mark Martin-styled Ford Taurus, sitting in the 19th position. Ryan, Tommy Withers running on fuel strategy is something that we're used to seeing. And he's been getting close. It seems like he's been trying the long fuel run strategy week after week, and he gets really close to pulling it off, and a bit closer each week. I agree with that. I like Tommy Withers. He sits in 19th, 10 seconds off the pace. Not a problem if the strategy works. But of course, the great equalizer, the caution flag will completely ruin everything.
Yep, good old caution brings everybody back together. But another one that I'd kind of like to mention is Matt Borndran. I think this might be his first start in TNT. I could be completely wrong, but good to see him out here racing tonight as well. He's running a couple other series in ARC, so good to see him out here, throwing it around here with the TNT drivers.
This is his first ever TNT start.
There you go. I thought I knew what I was talking about.
You know what you're talking about. You know exactly what you're talking about. In the DeWalt machine, we're normally used to seeing Kevin Feemster in that machine. Borndran on the outside, going around the Season 4 champion, Thomas Andrews. And speak of the DeWalt machine, and she will appear. Kevin Feemster in the 1-7, now following behind the 88. Let's go on board with the Indiana native. And thoughts and well wishes out to anybody in the Indiana area, the Arkansas area. Ryan, did you see these tornadoes ravaging the Midwest?
Yeah, crazy time.
Gosh.
I mean, even got pretty bad up here where we're at. So
it did get bad up here. I had spoken to somebody who was in Chicago. Richie Catania's in the wall. Let's take a look. And the North Floridian's going to be okay. But now I think Kevin Feemster's in the wall, and he is in the wall. He avoids a tornado, but he becomes a storm himself on the outside of turn number 1. He's okay. He'll keep it moving. Anyway, I digress. You know what? I have no idea what I was going to talk about. I did want to talk about the racetrack. Let's talk about the racetrack, because if you look at, to those that don't know, to anybody who's new to NASCAR, new to racing, this just looks like your average circle. Compared to the other 1.5 mile track, I'll give you Chicagoland, which is pretty much a circle track. I'll give you Las Vegas as well. Similar shapes, but why is this track different, and why is it then more difficult?
At least me, from a driver standpoint, it's different because even though it looks the same from up above, when you're actually out there racing the track, it is just completely different. Turn 1 and 2, you have to drive turn 1 and 2 completely different than you do 3 and 4. That's why you'll see some of these drivers basically hitting the wall coming into the turn 1 entry, because you kind of have to arc it in there, and then 3 and 4 you can almost stay on the bottom even on entry. So it's very misleading from the sky. I'll just leave it at that.
It doesn't look easy, and because it's so wide, at least with my extremely limited experience, because to me it just seems more wide, more flat. Getting a rhythm through the corner is so much harder because there's so much more surface area to cover.
Yeah, and it's not like some of these other 1.5 and 2 mile tracks where, there's some progressive banking involved. So if you do miss the bottom, you can kind of run the top and middle and not lose a lot of speed. It's not really like that here. It's the same banking from the bottom all the way to the top. And it's really a shame that this is no longer a racetrack in real life. It's, I think, a parking lot pretty much at this point for Ford trucks. So it's just a bummer.
It is a shame. The track opened in the year 2000, and I think it started with IndyCar racing here. It opened in the year 2000, and like you say, I think it's used as a parking lot for pickup trucks now. The lap record here is something blistering. I should look it up. I have no idea, but maybe I should ask my phone. But I think the IndyCar lap record here is just something insane, and that's something I'd love to see on iRacing. Of course, in real life, but an IndyCar race here with how wide and fast those cars are, that'd be a thriller. Landon's in the chat. Ryan Landon says, if you look at the racetrack in the last 5 years, there's thousands of Ford trucks stored there. And Landon's from Kentucky. And speaking of Kentucky, who do we got in the house that's from Kentucky tonight? Toby Estes. Where's Toby in the 8 car? He's running in 3rd right now in that lovely Oreo machine. We've got Briley Wright in the 29. 2 of the Bluegrass Bandits. Cody Riggs not here tonight. He's that 3rd Bluegrass Bandit. We got Landon in the house. Is anybody else here from Kentucky, Ryan?
I do not think so. I know that Carmen, I think, is from Kentucky as well. She's not in this race tonight, but yeah, I think that's the only 2 we have in the field from Kentucky. Obviously I'm from Kentucky as well, so but not on track tonight.
No, you're not one of the drivers from Kentucky, but from nearby Louisville. Is that right?
I don't know. Briley posted a whole backstory, but I don't know if we can say that on live television. So,
if you have to ask, we probably can't. We'll save that for a podcast. Further on up to the things that matter. Ethan Winters and Toby Estes are side by side. Ryan Winters has been sitting patiently in the top 5, and now he's trying to get around the Kentucky pilot. He's in the bronze medal spot, and we've got 2 rookies in the top 3.
Yeah, but something really cool about this week versus last week. Look at the gap. That gap is not very big for that 50 car, or really anyone. Last week it was, what did he have, like a 8-second lead at one point, I think, Rick? And tonight,
awful.
This is going to be fun.
So I was talking to Jacob Bradley while he was practicing, and have you seen him practice, by the way?
I have not. I usually join these things last minute like Clint Boyer does, so no, I didn't watch any practice.
When the gate opens, he hits the racetrack. The practice session opens at 7:30. By 7:31, he's already put in some laps. And it shows. You practice, you get good, you win. That's the Jacob Bradley formula. We've seen it with Noah Belleville before, our reigning champion. We saw it with Aiden Norman. If you practice, turns out you might win. he practices a lot, so he wins a lot. What he told me in that practice session is that this is his first ever race at Kentucky.
Yeah, didn't he say he wasn't going to buy the track? I thought we told him not to buy it.
That's right, wasn't it? I think it was last week in his podium interview. Here goes Matt Seeger for the lead, by the way, to the left-hand side, and the fan favorite in the subway machine won't make it stick out of turn number 4. Ryan, that bottom line is so hard to get a grip from.
Yeah, you just can't get a good run off either. When he's behind him, he can let that car kind of wash up to the wall. He gets that good run off. When you're below someone, you can't. But now the 10 car is going to look low on Matthew Seeger.
One rookie leads, another rookie wants to take the spot away. It goes 5-0, 1-6, 1-0. The Lowe's machine leads the Subway car, and then the Momo Chevrolet rolling in that third position, 1, 2, 3 out of turn number 4. Jacob Bradley, the points leader by a ridiculous margin. He's got, 356 points to Matt Seeger's 311. That's a 45-point margin in the 9th round out of 15. And Ryan, we're not going to, we're not going to say that it's in the bag, but as each week goes on, it gets more in the bag. It's going to take some disasters in the Bradley camp for this championship to slip away.
100%, but it can still happen. I mean, I think we're past halfway now in the season.
That's right. We crossed halfway last week.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely time, but there hasn't been a race so far where he hasn't been up front battling for the win. But tonight, I don't know. It looks like his long run speed maybe not quite there, unless he's saving. I don't know if we have maybe an onboard to see if he's clutching. I don't see how he could be with 2 cars right up his rear end, but, maybe saving a little bit. I don't know.
Well, we're about to find out. Let's go to the cockpit view and see what's up. He's not clutching in 1 and 2. Keep an eye on that tachometer in the middle there. Watch that needle dip. No, Ryan, he's not clutching. We're used to seeing him put the clutch in, dip the revs on the tack all the way down to 0. He's into the pits, Ryan.
Pitting. Yeah, and you do the math here. That means 30, 60, 90. They can't make it to... Ooh, about lost it. Got real sideways. But that's why I'm saying I think Tommy Withers, he might be in a good spot right now, depending on what happens here.
Drip Diecast and Collectibles Track Facts will tell you 30 to 40 laps on 1 tank of fuel is what you can expect to get. And we're on lap 31, and Matt Seeger looks like he's going to dip. He's going to try. Ryan, he's coming in at an unbelievable speed. He's coming in really hot. It looks like he got it woed up. Toby Estes will follow. So that's all of the top 10 that are into the pits now. 11th through 20th. Pitted on lap 29, coming around to take the race lead in the number 1 Logitech Camry, Ryan, Aaron Edwards.
Yeah, and forget everything I said about Tommy Withers. He let me down. He pitted on lap 27, so never mind. I take him back as my pick. I got to find somebody else to root for tonight.
That did not go how you expected. I'm not going to ask questions because then it's going to lead to what is Tommy Withers thinking, but I do want to know what Tommy Withers was doing in 19th and only making it 27 laps on 1 tank of fuel. But, I'll confidently say this. I know nothing, and he might end up winning this race.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, caution. We still got a little under 100 laps left, so a lot of things can happen. But, good to see that my prediction was just flushed down the toilet there.
That's not the only time that's going to happen tonight. I'll put money on that. Edwards went green. 30.53 he put in his personal best. Kevin Feemster, 30.47, his personal best. Lawrence Eberhard in the number 96 Commanders Chevrolet to the inside of John Honeybrink. 30.67. Ryan, my timing screen is lighting up like a tree. Greens everywhere. So what? The track's getting colder. More grip. The drivers now have fresh tires on a racetrack that has even more grip, so it makes sense that we're only going to go faster.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the nighttime as it gets further in the night, the track's going to cool off. It's going to have more grip, and when you come out of pit road, especially after running 30 laps on those tires, yeah, you feel like a superhero out there. But again, Jacob Bradley's pit road entry and exit, just it's just amazing. I mean, he was basically about to get passed for the lead, and now he's 2 seconds ahead of Matthew Seeger.
Assuming this trend continues, they go 30 laps, and it's a 130 lap race. So 30 laps on a run, 130 laps. If they can stretch to 31, 32, man. If you can
It's
go
going to be close.
extremely close. So we're talking 3 stops if you can stretch to 32 laps each and every time. Jake Bradley came down on lap 30. Like you said, about to be passed for the lead, and he's 2 seconds ahead. Assuming he's going to make 3 stops, if the trend continues, he'll be 6 seconds ahead if there's no cautions. And we don't even know how far he can go on fuel. But, Ryan, and I keep on rambling, about to ask a super obvious question. How important is getting on and off pit road? But Jacob Bradley just showed us.
Yeah, I mean he showed us every week, honestly. I mean, he's just
Ridiculous,
and
isn't it?
it is. And you even mentioned Matthew Seeger looked like he was coming on pit road super hot, and it's because he has to. He has no option but to push that car as hard as he can. Now, I will say one thing. He came down a lap later than Bradley did. And, everybody at home, oh, 1 lap, that's not a big deal. I'm telling you, it is a big deal, not only for fuel, but also for tires. And he's actually closing that gap.
On board with Brandon Fetterplace in that 34. Back to the top spot, Ryan. I want to see what you're talking about. 1.3 seconds, Jacob Bradley, and you can see down to the 1,000th, Matt Seeger is closing in. Let's close the battle box and go over the last 5 laps of competition. Seeger, last time around, Ryan, 0.3 quicker, 0.2 quicker, 3/100, 1/10, all greens. He's chipping away 1.25 seconds to complete lap 37.
Yeah, and I think this is where Jacob Bradley is able to maybe save a little bit because you have that lead. You don't have to push as hard. Even if maybe he's not clutching, you lift a little early, you get in the gas a little late. And that's what's causing, Seeger to be able to catch him because he knows he pit a lap before. Oh, he's clutching, it looks like. Maybe just a little bit.
Called it. Just as you were talking about him clutching, we cut to the camera in his cockpit. Watch the needle. There he goes. No engine sound. That needle on the tack goes down to 0, and he cuts the power back in. Now he's saving the fuel. I'm not a mathematician. Go ahead.
It's almost like I've done this before. I don't know. Sometimes I feel smarter than Clint Boyer some nights, Rick.
That's on you, buddy. Your words. I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying a word. 0.8 is the gap from first to second. Jacob, you're gonna get me fired before I get hired anywhere. Jacob Bradley with Matt Seeger, 0.7 of a second is the gap. And I'm really curious here on what's going to happen. John Fry in the chat says he'll need to go 33, 34 laps, talking about Jake Bradley. And Fry is right because Jake Bradley already missed 2 laps on that first stint to make it a 3-stop race.
100%. I mean, that's a great observation. And, I'm kind of curious. I was trying to see if Seeger was maybe clutching. I don't think he is. But, again, he has that extra lap. So that's a huge help in saving fuel.
And Seeger's right here, ready to take the lead. Seeger could happily sit behind the 50 of Jake Bradley and force the mistake. But now the 16 cuts to the inside, beats the 5-0 at the line, Ryan. New leader, car 16, Matt Seeger. All right, driver. You got around him. Now what do you do?
You sit. I mean, don't pull away. You start clutching too. If I'm Matthew Seeger, I'm clutching right now. I'm saving fuel. Don't, you don't have to push. There's no one in front of you. The one person behind you, is saving. Be on that same strategy. But again, that's what I would do. Every driver's a little different though.
Seeger in the 16, leading by half a second over Jacob Bradley. And Ryan, if we assume that Jacob Bradley's attack and then exit from pit road will yield 2 seconds ahead of Matt Seeger, Matt Seeger wants that 2-second buffer before he comes into the pits. By the same token, if Matt Seeger can pull away from Jacob Bradley, Bradley can't afford to clutch and save the fuel.
Yeah, it's a kind of a game of cat and mouse. I mean, you know that Bradley is one of the best on not only getting on pit road but getting off pit road. But yeah, you got to get that 2 seconds, and you also have to keep fuel in mind. I mean, that's the big thing.
On board with the 1-6 subway machine, Matt Seeger into turn 1. He is not holding the clutch in. He is expending more fuel than Jacob Bradley and pulling away. Let's go on board with the Jimmy Johnson Foundation 50. The 50's still clutching, Ryan. I think the 50 is gambling on save. Oh, he got really loose, Ryan. We're on board with the 50. You see those hands push to the right when he cuts that power in. And I don't know if it was Dover or Martinsville where we were a couple weeks ago. 50 continues to clutch, Ryan. No, it was Sonoma, wasn't it? Where he clutched through the corners, cut the power in, and spun himself.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, all you're doing is mashing a pedal, and then no, it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy to do and still be fast and not spin yourself out, because when you dump that power of these cars, it can get really loose, and that's one of the best in the business on Thursday nights, and he about lost it. So
on board, basically in the driver's seat, with Thomas Sears, who is trying to take on Toby Estes for the 3rd position. Further on back, this is the 3-4 of Brandon Fetterplace trying to take over Ethan Winters' 6th place position. Briley Wright in the distance. Brent Roberts, the Charlotte winner, up behind Chucky Sweeting, up 9 places from where he started, Ryan. Chuck Sweeting doing his thing. And this is what I love about Chuck. He did it at Dover, I think last week as well. 2 weeks ago. Just crept through the field. He's in 10th. At this rate, Ryan, we're 49 laps into a 130-lap race. At this rate, he could end up with a top 5 or even a podium.
absolutely, and that's where, you have a lot of drivers out there, myself included, maybe not the fastest on track, but you just stay out there, you stay consistent, you be smart, and next thing you know, you're running, top 10, and then you're in 8th, and then you're in 7th, and next thing you know, you get a top 5 finish. So, yeah, just great run. I mean, and he's done it all year, too. It's so much fun to watch.
.8 seconds the gap at the start, at the lead. Matt Seeger leads Jacob Bradley. And Ryan, he's getting enough distance there to where the pit road delta might not make a difference.
Yeah, he's definitely getting to that point. I mean, like you said, about 2 seconds, and he's going to be, probably in a good spot, regardless of how good Jacob Bradley attacks pit road. But as we keep going, my next thought is, okay, how much fuel is Jacob Bradley actually saving here? And we'll really be able to know that, once we get to about lap 60. Everybody pitted around lap 30, so with 30 laps, you'll expect to see most people at lap 60. When does that 50 car come down pit road?
If the 50 car makes it to, let's say, 64, 65, he is on the 3-stop strategy. So then, assuming the 50 is on the 3-stop strategy, Matt Seeger really has to get a move on. But again, last pit stop delta, Bradley gained 2 seconds on Matt Seeger. Right now the gap is 2.4. Over the last 5 laps, Ryan, Jake Bradley has still been losing time to Matt Seeger. Tenths of a second a lap. I can't do the math that far ahead in the future, but I hope this trend continues because this is going to be a really close battle of two opposite strategies.
100%. But the thing is if even if Seeger just has to come down pit road on lap, let's say it's 120, just doing the math, quickly in our heads, that's still a long time to go where Jacob Bradley doesn't have to make that extra stop. So yeah, Seeger's got to really push and open that gap. I mean, you're talking it's going to have to be over 30 plus seconds if Jacob Bradley can make it.
Big if. Pit stop 5 laps away. If you just tuned in, you have not missed a thing. You're watching round 9 of the Drip Diecast and Collectibles Thursday Night Thunder Series. Matt Seeger, in his 3rd TNT season, leads the field. He has never won in this series. 2.7 seconds is the gap back to Jacob Bradley, who has won more times than we'd like to count. We love Jacob Bradley, we do, but he wins all the time, and the points show it. 45 digits between the 50 and the 16. Ryan, how about Tom Sears? He's in 3rd, and he's within 6/10 to the points leader.
Yeah, great night for Tom Sears. We really haven't talked about him much this year. Seems like he's been struggling a little bit, had some issues here and there, but having a really good run tonight and closing on Jacob Bradley. Both of them stopped on lap 30, so you'll expect to probably see them in the next 4 to 5 laps. I did see Thomas Andrews came down pit road, so it looks like green flag stops are starting for some drivers out there.
Andrews definitely on the 4-stop strategy if he's pitting on lap 57. He doesn't look like he might be saving that fuel. Hopefully he gets there in the mix. There's a lot of drivers that are actually close to each other. There's a lot of drivers fighting hard. You've got Tommy Withers, who's in the 19th position. He's on fresh tires, pitting on lap 53. He's now around Toby Estes, not for position, but we'll see what kind of time he's putting up on fresh tires. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Ford Taurus crosses the line, and the clock says 30.82 seconds. Ryan, Matt Seeger's running 32.02, so that's what, 1.25 seconds faster for Tommy Withers.
Yeah, those fresh tires, they are very, very important, really at any track, but especially here at Kentucky with the worn-out racing surface. These tires are very, very important. But how about Matthew Seeger opening up the lead to 3.5 seconds? So if he stays on this strategy, I mean, it's definitely not out of the question for him. But I'm just curious, is he going to put on lap 60? Is he going to try and push it to 62? Because if he can get it to 62, look out now. He might be able to save here and make it to the end.
On board with Southampton, Massachusetts, Tom Sears in pursuit of 2nd position. Points leader, Indiana native Jake Bradley. Peeling away from the 1 Ford Tropicana Supra, further back. Briley Wright, Brandon Fetterplace coming into the pits, trying to get it woed up. Wright would love a win, at least a podium at his home track. And how about the 51? Ryan Lindemann will slide by himself into the pits. One car, we stay green at Kentucky. And there's the treachery that we haven't mentioned, I guess, it's going to get more than Lindemann tonight, coming onto pit road.
Yeah, this is a tough one too, because you're pretty much on the racing surface, and then you just have to turn hard left to get on the pit road, and that change in banking really upsets these cars, especially if you're trying to push it too hard. But right now, Matthew Seeger still out there at the moment. We'll see. I don't know. This could be close.
Shotgun Seeger running in the number 1 position, the pole sitter in the Subway car, completing 61 laps of competition. 3.7 seconds is the gap to Jacob Bradley, who stays out, and Bradley has a 1.2 second gap back to Toby Estes. Tom Sears no longer in pursuit of 3rd. He's in the pits. Chuck Sweeting up 13 places from where he started, now in the pits. The top 4, Ryan, yet to pit on this cycle. Matt Seeger will come in. Ryan, he's in. The 16 cars down. All eyes on the 50. 50 stays out. Here we go, Ryan. Lap 63. Matt Seeger is into the pits. Jacob Bradley, is he still holding the clutch in? Nope. Ryan, he's not. Well, and let's have another listen. But now everybody watching this guy here.
Yeah, it looks like I just heard Toby say he's going to pit this time. So Toby got to, I mean, he'll be coming to 63, so that's close for Toby. But Bryn Roberts also hasn't pitted. He might be in conversation here if he stays out another lap.
And that deafening silence from the 5-0. You see the needle down to 0 and back up to 8. Jacob Bradley, saving all the fuel he can, continues to hold the clutch in. Brent Roberts also putting the clutch in, but Ryan, wow, he nearly lost control of his race car there.
Yeah, and I think I just heard Jacob Bradley say he was pitting this time, so we'll see if he does come in.
He does.
That puts him coming, yeah, lap 64. So he's in that window, but he's still got to save for the rest of the race. That's the big key there.
Take a look at these pit stop stints. Jacob Bradley went 31 laps on his first stint. No, that's Brent Roberts. He went, 30 laps on the first stint, 34 laps on this second stint. And I was just going to talk about John Fry. He puts in the chat there, he just made up the difference between the first and the second pit stop delta. If you have no idea what we're talking about, here's how we go. Let me put it simply. Jacob Bradley can make one pit stop fewer than anybody else. So can Brent Roberts if they stay on this strategy. Aaron Edwards, Matt Seeger, so far, they cannot. Ryan, the 16. In second, Brent Roberts, the race leader, is in, and presumably Matt Seeger will now take a massive lead.
Yeah, so that's interesting, though, because the 84 was able to make it to the completion of lap 65, so basically lap 66. That is even further than Jacob Bradley went, so Bryn may not have to save as much. And I know that sounds silly, but those 2 extra laps it's huge to a driver out there on track. But now I'm interested to see what Matthew Seeger can do, and where did Aaron Edwards come from running second?
Yeah, I'm interested in wondering why Aaron Edwards has been hiding this whole time, but he's up 8 places from where he started. 9/10 is the gap from Seeger to Aaron Edwards. Jacob Bradley pits on lap 64. He is in 7th, down 4 places from where he started. 6 seconds behind to Matt Seeger. And as always, let's go on board with the 5-0 and listen if he's holding the clutch in the corner. He is. In 7th, holding the clutch. Now, Ryan, I just have to throw my hands up and say, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what happened with Aaron Edwards. He pitted on lap 58, probably the soonest, other than maybe Thomas Andrews on lap 55. That is the difference in tires. Came on 58. Matthew Seeger was 62. Ethan Winters 60. That's how much time he made up. We weren't even talking about him. Now he's up there running in second, and you got Jacob Bradley back in, 6th or 7th right now. So just so many different strategies. A lot of fun to watch.
I'm excited, man. 69 laps underway of the scheduled 130. Thomas Andrews in a 3-way fight with rookie Matt Vorndren, Chuck Sweeting in the 5-7. Andrews is in the wall. He will shower sparks off the right-hand side of his TNT Dodge, and rookie Larry Eberhard will now try to tuck in behind the 2-car. Further up, Matt Vorndren, Chuck Sweeting, 0.3 of a second, and Ryan in his first ever Thursday Night Thunder entry. The 8 looks good.
Yeah, he's been fast all night, but one thing I'm just keeping an eye on, because I know how good Jacob Bradley is on entry and exit. But if you look at his time where he's running, according to Matthew Seeger, he's now 6.3 seconds back. So he did not gain any time. Matter of fact, lost a lot of time there on that last pit cycle. So Matthew Seeger, if he can just stay in it and continue what he's doing, it's not over for him. But just again, so many different strategies. Just it's hard to keep track of sometimes, Rick.
Not a single yellow in these 71 laps of competition. Clean and green through all of this. We have passed the halfway mark in the 9th round of competition. Jacob Bradley kind of plugged up behind Tom Sears and Briley Wright. And there's not much you can do at this stage, but you've got to... Finally, the 1-4 looks like he's going to make way on the high side. But this has got to be frustrating for Jake Bradley because by now the expectation week in and week out is win.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also hard to pass someone when you're trying to save fuel. It's kind of a double-edged sword. So you want to get around the guy in front of you, but you kind of can't because you're saving fuel, so you don't have that same run off. But Jacob Bradley seems to be able to do it better than anyone out there, saving fuel and still passing people.
With the clutch in, Ryan, that's what I don't understand. With the clutch in, obviously you're not getting the most immediate response from the revs, and the balance of the car is upset just a little bit when you cut the power back in the middle of the corner. But he's that good, man. He is that freaking good. And it's made for an incredible race. I don't know why this has only been our third ever TNT race at Kentucky in the iRacing era, but what a show so far. And here's the battle for fourth. Bradley's going to make easy work of Fetter Place.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, he knows exactly when that car, because you know when you lift into a corner, but the thing that's impressive is he can mash that clutch exactly when you know you have to lift as a driver, and then dump the clutch and get right back in the gas, and that is not an easy thing to do.
On board with Ethan Winters, who holds the second spot. Rookie Aaron Edwards in the number 1 Logitech machine wants the spot from Winters, the Momo machine. 4 seconds adrift of the race leader. Matt Seeger driving the race of his TNT career so far. John Fry saying it's almost looking like he's shutting the race car off. Must be talking about the 50 here. Ryan, I'm going to go on board with the cockpit of the 50 car. And just curious to see... Oh, the car's still illuminated. The lights are still on, so I don't see him cutting the ignition or anything like that, but he really just... He waits a long time before cutting the power back in through the corner.
Yeah, right about in the middle, and that's really where the car kind of rotates, as we like to say. Right in the middle is where the car kind of rotates, and that's where he drops the clutch. I don't know if iRacing, honestly, and I would like to know this. I don't know if iRacing shows if a driver actually cuts the car off. So he could be. I mean, it's definitely not unheard of. It's just that's really tough because if you don't get it cut back on in time, you're sitting there with a dead race car. But yeah, I think Jacob's just clutching. He's just so good at knowing when to dump the clutch and get right back in the gas.
Ryan Lindemann and Tommy Withers briefly swapping spots. Lindemann in 15th, Withers in 16th in his beloved Pittsburgh Penguins livery. Ethan Winters still 4.6 seconds off the lead. Tom Sears, on the other hand, catching up to Brandon Fetterplace and trying to get the spot from the 34. And Ryan, this is almost the calm before the storm, if you will, where drivers are, relatively speaking, spread out. We're expecting pit stops within the next 5 to 10 laps. That being said, it's going to be a frenzy with 3 different strategies going on.
Oh, 100%. This is where it gets kind of dicey out there because you're going to have a lot of people with fresh tires that are way faster, and then some that are on very, very old tires. But I'm still sitting here, I'm doing the math in my head, and, Matthew Seeger last pitted at 62. So he went 31 laps. So you figure, okay, if he can go 31 laps again, that puts him at 93. If he can go 31 again, that puts him at 124. Does he have the ability? Because look at the gap he has right now. He's got to be thinking, let me save a little bit here. You know, like he's got a chance if he just saves a little bit of fuel.
The Bluegrass boys do battle. Toby Estes gets around Briley Wright, and these guys that live within a couple miles of each other, separated by 4/10. Jacob Bradley in the 4th position, 6.5 seconds off the race leader, approximately 10 laps from the pits, and the window has opened again, Ryan. Tommy Withers is in.
Yeah, Thomas Andrews had come in a couple laps too. These two are kind of on a early strategy where they get to really kick off some really good lap times and make up a little bit of time, but unfortunately they cannot make it to the end like some of these others that maybe can make it, maybe not.
Closing now in the chat, asking where is Elrich George, our beloved Bahamian, is a DNS. Did not start. Registered in practice. Did not make the green flag. John Fry says if he makes 98, he won't have to save as much. Talking about Jacob Bradley. And there is the points leader now battling with Aaron Edwards down the back straight. This is for the 3rd position, and Ryan, it's going to cost him a little bit of more than fuel saving.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was Landon that said that he might be shutting it off because he saw that the RPMs were actually dropping to 0. I don't know that they were actually dropping to 0. This tack in this car is actually kind of sideways. It's kind of hard to see whether it's at like 800 or 0. So, could be shutting it off, but it's just really hard to see if it's at 800 or actually at 0.
Chat, we're in the final 50. Pop your predictions. Let me know who you think is going to win this race. And here's a fun game. Take a pick outside of the top 10. Let's make a long shot pick here. Look at the leaderboard on the left side of your screen. Take a pick of anybody from 10th on down who you think has a shot to win this race. Ryan, for me, my pick to win, I'm going to say the 5-0 of Jacob Bradley. I think it's a long shot now, but I think the points leader will work that magic. For obvious reasons, we know the sentimental favorite is Matt Seeger. This entire league wants to see that particular event happen tonight. I don't want to jinx him, so we're not going to mention it out loud. However, practically, I think Jacob Bradley has the best shot to win outside of the top 10. I'm going to take a really long shot here. I'm going to say Seth Wansing.
I would go with Bryn Roberts. He's on that fuel saving strategy. I think he's gonna have a really good finish regardless of what happens. Obviously, if we have that late race caution, it may change things. But Bryn Roberts, my prediction, he finishes 3rd tonight.
I wanted to pick Brent Roberts, but I thought, of course, Brent Roberts has a shot to win the race. He's Brent Roberts. Let's pick a super long shot. I have no idea why, but that Tony the Tiger machine. Well, let's say he gets lucky on a caution and ends up coming home in first. It's happened before. That's why we love racing. Although he did just give up 12th spot to Kevin Feemster, so he's already making a liar out of me. Aaron Edwards is in the pits, though.
Yeah, he'll definitely not be able to make it to the end. I mean, this is pretty much right here. This is, can they make it to the end or not? And anybody that pits pretty much from here until, honestly, lap 100, a little less than 100, they're not going to be able to make it.
We know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, based on Jacob Bradley's obsessive fuel saving, have a listen. He continues to push that clutch in. Ryan, it's unbelievable. He's absolutely going to make his next pit stop the final pit stop of his night. So, now, with a 6 point whatever second gap from Jake Bradley up to Matt Seeger. Let's say 7 seconds, as near as it makes no difference. Bradley has to get a move on if this strategy is to work. Well, and I shouldn't say that. Matt Seeger has to get a move on, but I just don't know what the delta has to be for Matt Seeger to beat Jacob Bradley's fuel saving. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's got to be. You're talking. It's got to be over 30 seconds, even if you just come for a splash and go. I mean, it's got to be a pretty good amount, because even coming down pit road, even if you just top off and add a gallon, you're going to be on pit road for 30 plus seconds just because it's so slow. So yeah, he's right now in the catbird seat. If Matthew Seeger, this is key here. When does Matthew? Oh, he's loose. About lost it, but when does Matthew Seeger come down pit road? Because that will be the key factor of what happens on this last green flag run.
Matt Seeger has come down after 31 laps on his first 2 stints. He's completed 29. 2 more laps takes Matt Seeger to lap number 94, and it's still another 35-ish laps to the end of the race. So if he's not saving the fuel now, he'll have to save it later, and running that low line in turn 3, no, he's going to stay out. Yeah, Ryan, he's on the back foot, but I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, very curious to see what's going on. I mean, it's pretty much a race between Seeger and Bradley at this point, because we know Bradley is saving. And I did actually see that RPM go to 0 when you were on board with him last, so he might actually be turning the car off. That's a good observation from Landon to see that tack go all the way down to 0. That's pretty cool.
Andrews slaps the wall extremely hard into turn number 1. We were on board with the Season 4 champion, and he's got a really high line out of turn number 4. Chuck Sweeting will easily get around him, and Sweeting moves into the 11th position. Seeger is in, and Ryan, it's only lap 93. He may not have enough to go the distance.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, he came to lap 94, so you do 31 laps. You know, you're looking at 125. He's 5 laps short. I mean, and you can definitely save that, but I just don't know. I wish I could have been in Seeger's ear and been like, man, you got that 6-second lead. Just, back it off, clutch it, do something. Get you a few extra laps. But hey, us drivers, we're hard-headed sometimes.
Well, and and maybe the question is too simple, but why doesn't Matt Seeger just employ the same strategy? Why is Matt Seeger then not pressing in the clutch?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I mean, especially when you have a 7-second lead, but maybe he's going to do all of his saving here at the end as Toby comes down pit road, but I don't know. It's hard to do this math as a driver when you're also thinking about everything else that's going on out there on the track. It really is hard.
We're also not good at math.
No, I'm terrible at math.
Taking a look at Briley Wright, he's behind Brandon Fetterplace to the tune of 4 tenths, I'm sorry. 24 100ths it is now. The 2.9 sits behind the 3.4. That's 10th and 9th, running back to front. Aaron Edwards in the number 1 machine to the inside of Jacob Bradley. Last time around, Jake Bradley, 32-33. Matt Seeger, 30-30. Seeger moving 2 seconds quicker than Jake Bradley at this point. But again, anything can happen. We were approaching the final 30 laps of competition. The top 3 currently says Jacob Bradley, Bren Roberts, Matt Seeger. Bren Roberts 12 seconds behind Jacob Bradley and on the same strategy. So both Bradley and Roberts going to go 3 stops. Is that what they're doing, Ryan? It's a 3-stop race, not 4?
Yeah, they're trying for the 3 stop, but Jacob Bradley just pit, and I thought he would get to maybe a little bit closer to lap 100. So this is interesting because Jacob Bradley's still going to have to save a lot of fuel to make it to the end. This is not over yet.
So the last two stints were 34 laps apiece. His first stint was lap 30. So what Jacob Bradley will have to do is run a stint the same as his first. Now keep in mind, when Jacob Bradley ended that first stint, he ended that first stint in the lead, came out with a 2-second gap over on Matt Seeger. But again, Jacob Bradley does not have to pit. Matt Seeger and everybody else does. Seeger in the lead. He's got a 1.9 second gap. Back to Aaron Edwards. Ethan Winters runs in the third position, and Brandon Fetterplace rolls in fourth. I think that's... Is Fetterplace a rookie in TNT? No, he's not. No, of course he's not. Right? He's running Thursday Night Thunder plenty of races before.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he could be considered a rookie in any series as
He's
long
been
as
he's been
racing.
around, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. But he's a great driver, great buddy of mine, and good to see him out here having a good run so far. But obviously, everybody out there right now, other than Jacob Bradley and Bryn Roberts, they're going to have to stop one more time. It's just, look at the gap now from Matthew Seeger to Jacob Bradley. It's 17 seconds. And okay, now we're getting close to, okay, this might be enough of a gap, but again, I don't think it's quite there, but it's definitely way more than the last time they came down pit road. I think, what was it, Rick? Like maybe 6 seconds?
About that. About that. Seeger still has a mountain to climb, but that's why we love racing. Anything is possible. Chuck Sweeting comes down into the pits, by the way. You want to talk about saving enough fuel. Chuck Sweeting is saving enough fuel for all three green-white checkers. He thinks we're going to go the full distance on this one. So my man Chucky is getting every last drop. And Miss Moneypenny says, I don't know who to cheer for anymore. And we were talking earlier about they were in the chat, Ryan, talking earlier about Noah Belleville, and he's doing great things this year. So I don't know. Ryan, make a suggestion. Who should Moneypenny start rooting for in TNT?
Well, based off the win ratio, I would go with Jacob Bradley. I think Jacob Bradley and Noah Belleville have about the same win ratio. It felt like Noah won almost every race he started. Jacob's kind of the same way, so can't help but root for that 50 car. But I like Bryn Roberts. I told y'all, Bryn Roberts, y'all watch out. He's going to finish second or third in this race tonight.
I actually just highlighted him briefly because he just went purple. 30.23. He's got the fastest lap of this race. Brent's got speed. Trauma in the chat says the 16 is a good choice. Matt Seeger. Now there's a fan favorite. There's a driver that everybody likes. Kevin Feemster, nobody likes him. He just came into the pits. Matt Seeger, though, everybody likes Matt Seeger. I would root for him as well.
100%. He reminds me a little bit of Mark Martin. Like everyone loved Mark Martin, and Mark Martin never had that, championship run. He never had that great season. Matthew Seeger's had a great season. He just needs that win. He needs that win so he can get that monkey off his back.
I was also talking about this to a few guys in practice earlier. There's certain wins in TNT that are really, really popular, but the after party for that win is more legendary than the win itself. And I know I've said this before, and I will say it again, and I'll continue to say it until it happens. When this guy finally gets it, when it happens, we may lose somebody to the Matt Seeger party.
Oh yeah, I know. I might not make it to the end of that night. I know
We won't
when
see
Cody
you next
Riggs,
week.
yeah, when Cody Riggs won, that was a great party. But I tell you, when Matthew Seeger wins, it's gonna be a heck of a party too.
think we stayed up till like 2 a.m. just trading stories and having drinks after Cody Riggs won that race at Daytona. That was all time. That was marvelous. 23 laps to go under the blue moon of Kentucky, and the 1.5 mile oval has yet to choose a winner. Matt Seeger leads Ethan Winters by 5 seconds. The gap back to Jacob Bradley is 16 and change, with pit stops looming for everybody who's not this guy in the 50, this guy in the 84. The Jimmy Johnson Foundation 5-0 of Jacob Bradley and the BB&T Impala of Bren Roberts right now on the front foot with the dominant fuel strategy. And a quick shout out to the folks over at Infraction Music who provide the pre-race tunes for all our races. They provide copyright-free music on Spotify. I have enjoyed them for many, many years. Check out Infraction Music. Do your stream a favor. All right, driver. 20 laps to go. Let's have a quick sound check with the 5-0. And he's pushing the clutch. Ryan, he's still pushing the clutch in. What fuel does he have to save? He needs to go like the Dickens and get that top spot.
Well, he knows that everyone in front of him, there's no way that they're making it. And I'll tell you one thing, honestly, because I've done it before in races. When you get in a rhythm of pushing that clutch or shutting the car off, whatever he's doing, you almost mess yourself up not doing it anymore, and you'll actually be slower. So at this point, it's in his brain. It's just, that's what I need to do. When I go into the turn, I mash a clutch in, I let off halfway, get back on the gas. At this point, yeah, he really doesn't probably need to save, but he's been running the whole race this way. He's going to continue to do it, and he's pretty fast doing it. So that's what I'm doing as a driver. You get used to it, and it's just what you do.
Ryan, if it ain't broke,
don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Matt Seeger's in, Ryan. 19 laps to go. Matt Seeger is in, and Jacob Bradley will now take over Matt Seeger's position, and the 5-0 is now projected to take over this race lead with little competition. He goes to the inside of Briley Wright. The Bluegrass Bandit in the 2.9 Good Wrench machine will wave goodbye to the 5-0 Jimmy Johnson Lowe's Chevrolet. That's fourth taken care of. New leader, Ryan, Aaron Edwards in the Logitech car.
Yeah, and it's just everybody in front of Jacob Bradley is going to have to pit. Ethan Winters came down. The 34, they're going to have to pit before this race is over. Now, if you're the 50, you're just hoping and praying that nobody wrecks, no one has any issues that brings out that caution.
Matt Seeger rejoins into the 11th position. The first car 1 lap down. 10 cars remain on the lead lap in the last 17 laps of racing. Last time around, Aaron Edwards, 31.95. Jacob Bradley, 31.43. And Bradley only pitted on lap 98. It's now lap 113, so his tires are still relatively young. But look at this hornet's nest ahead of the projected leader.
Yeah, they're like two, 3 wide. A lot of different strategies right here, so definitely not over yet. I mean, anything can happen out here on this racetrack. Again, like you said, that's what we love about racing. You never know what might happen. Could happen with 15 to go, could happen with 2 to go.
A shout out to the people that keep us going and whom without TNT would not be a thing. The good people over at Drip Diecasts and Collectibles, your number 1 eBay store for all sorts of NASCAR memorabilia. Drip Diecasts and Collectibles, your number 1 eBay store for all sorts of NASCAR memorabilia. I'll post the eBay link in the chat here, so we'll have a couple of those there. ebay.com/str/drip diecasts. Once again, it is your number 1 store for NASCAR memorabilia and more. If you love any of the paint schemes you see here, get on down to Drip Diecasts. Have a look. See if there's a paint scheme that you love that you want to take home for yourself. Get a piece of NASCAR memorabilia. Make it yours. Drip Diecast and Collectibles have been supporting Thursday Night Thunder for the last 10 seasons and beyond. A big shout out to the folks over at Drip. Get on over to Drip Diecast and Collectibles, your #1 eBay store for all sorts of NASCAR memorabilia and more. Ryan, Ethan Winters goes purple, 30.23 seconds.
Yeah, anyone that's pitting here, I mean, my guess is taking 4 tires and just coming back on track. And just, I mean, at this point, you got 14 laps left. You're just pushing as hard as you can. You're not saving anything. You got the fuel. You got the fresh tires. Just go out there and let that car eat. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, Jacob Bradley, we know he can make it to the end. Again, I don't even think he really has to save. Just another heartbreak for Matthew Seeger. I mean, he was so fast all night long, and just strategy just didn't work in his favor tonight.
On any other night, in any other series, when Jacob Bradley is not your competition, his strategy would be unbeatable. You mentioned Mark Martin earlier, and I think back to Mark Martin. If it wasn't for 2 guys named Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin could have had 1, maybe 2 championships. It's unbelievable the dominance that they put together. I will say this for Matt Seeger. He's moving at approximately 1.25 seconds quicker than Jacob Bradley each and every lap. Right now, it's not fast enough to catch up to Jacob Bradley. However, he is chipping away more time. It's not over until it's over. While it is unlikely, if Jacob Bradley makes a mistake, Matt Seeger, according to the math, will be in the top 3, ready to pounce. It's 1-0 to go next time by. And you know what, Ryan? I'm not going to say anything because Seeger's not even moving quick enough for this to happen. I'm hoping against hope, man.
Yeah, I think we all are. I mean, Jacob Bradley's he's just a different breed of race car driver.
I'm going to cut in for a second. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Let me make it clear to anybody that's just tuning in or has no idea what's going on. We don't hate Jacob Bradley. We love him very, very much, and Matt Seeger. But this is the level of dominance we're talking about, Ryan. It's crazy that we're disappointed for a guy who's not going to win a race because his competition is so good. Please continue. I'm so sorry for cutting you off.
No, 100%. I get it. Hey, I had Jacob Bradley sub for me in A² at Watkins Glen, and he put that number 12 car P3 at the end of that race. And then he comes last week, we were at Texas. He wins the race. I mean, he just come out there and just won the race like he'd been doing it all year. He even told me, I don't even really like the next gen car. Come out there and just absolutely smoked the competition, won the Texas race. So yeah, Jacob Bradley is a special driver. We do not dislike him, but it's like, you know, when people hated Jimmy Johnson. Why did they hate Jimmy Johnson? Well, because he won every week. He won 7 championships. You know, sometimes people just, they don't like winners.
I think we get bored, don't we? We absolutely get bored.
We want to race.
Exactly. We want to see the close competition. We don't want to see guys dominating by what is now 6 seconds, which Jacob Bradley is doing right now. Toby Estes sits in the 2nd position. Now, Toby last pitted on lap 95, Ryan, so I'm willing to bet that Toby is praying a caution comes out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he was kind of one of those almost with Withers and Andrews where he pitted a little. He didn't pit as soon as they did, but yeah, he's hoping for a caution. I mean, he's making up a little bit of time, but I just don't know if he has enough fuel to make it to the end.
Fetter place around, wanting a small amount of contact with the wall. And Landon in the chat says, why was I Aiden Norman's biggest hater? Well, Brian, for that reason, because Aiden Norman won all the blessed time. Same with Noah Belleville last year. Broke the record for wins in a single season with 11. Now, Let's take a look here. With 5 laps to go, Ryan, 6 seconds is the gap between Jacob Bradley and Toby Estes. Bradley obviously has the fuel to make it. Toby does not. Brent Roberts is 11 seconds behind Jacob Bradley. Then Tom Sears. Matt Seeger within 7/10 to Tom Sears and 2 seconds to Brent Roberts. Seeger still on the path for that podium. Make no mistake that, oh my goodness, almost contact with the rookie Matt Vorndren, who carefully avoids the 16. Ryan, it's not over until it's over. If that caution flag flies before the white one does, I think there's going to be a lot of relieved people in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, me included. I mean, everybody loves a late race caution. Get everybody bunched back together, and let's see who can go out there and run the fastest 2 or 3 laps. But that's just not normally what TNT is. I mean, and that's what I love about TNT is these strategies that we talk about. You don't see those same strategies in A squared or other series because there are so many cautions. So TNT is just special because 90% of the time when you drop that green flag, that's it. You're not going to get another break till this thing's over. And it's looking like that tonight unless we do have one of those late race cautions.
Chuck Sweeting and Briley Wright in the unsponsored and the good wrench machine battling for position. Brent Roberts now has Matt Seeger behind him, and the subway machine wants to creep into that final podium slot. White flag will be out next time by. Brent Roberts just doesn't have the tires to compete with Matt Seeger, and the 16 will make light work of the Charlotte winner. The BB&T Chevrolet will be resigned to the 4th position for now. Ryan, white flag this time by. It will undoubtedly be the 6th win for Jacob Bradley in his 9 starts.
Yeah, just dominant racecraft by the 50. I mean, he never misses. I mean, that's just bottom line. Even if it's strategy, he knows what to do. He's fast with it, with saving. He's a really good race car driver. It's just a great race.
One final corner on the road to the championship for Jacob Bradley. Still, a multitude of races remains, but the outcome might be written now. Under the blue moon of Kentucky, Jacob Bradley comes off turn 4 and he wins round 9 of TNT. Brent Roberts now watches Matt Seeger come off of turn number 4. Roberts gives it everything he has, and 4th place will be decided by 7/10 of a second. Brandon Fetter place 4/10 behind Briley Wright, coming through turns 3 and 4, and for one of 2 Bluegrass Bandits in tonight's race, he will come off the 4th corner and come home in 8th. Ryan, Toby Estes in his home race, finishing 2nd.
Yeah, good job for him saving. I didn't think he could make it, so I think he might actually be out of fuel after the checkered flag, but just a great job by that number 8 shiny Oreo machine, and hey, got him a top 2 finish at his home track.
Not a bad run for him at all. We're going to talk to this guy who's burning smoke and doing donuts on the front straight. Jacob Bradley comes home with another impressive win. Toby Estes and Matt Seeger also on the podium. Fans at home, don't go anywhere. Interviews in a moment. On the podium with our top three after an awesome night. What a fun race. Let's start with our bronze medalist, Mr. Matt Seeger in the number 16 Subway Chevrolet Shotgun. Another great race. Another great strategy. Really, what more is there to be said that we haven't already said?
Yeah, I guess just gotta make Filton a little bit bigger, I guess. I'm not really sure. I honestly thought that they weren't going to be able to pull that strategy when they pit, as early as they did in the race, and then they wound up making it happen anyway. So I guess, never put anything past Bradley and Estes as good as they are. So had a great car, really fast. Finally got a pole for the first time, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I think I led the most laps too. So it was a good night in Kentucky, and looking forward to 2 weeks from now.
We'll see you at New Hampshire in a couple of weeks. We got a couple of things to try here, and the hunt continues, man. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, sir.
Ryan, you've got the hometown flavor of the week.
Absolutely. From Kentucky, Toby Estes comes home in second. Tell us about your race, buddy.
Well, from the drop of the green flag, I knew I was going to have to save to do the pit strategy I wanted to. My main goal was to at least finish top three so I could get an interview. But I mean, it's just a combination of saving tire and saving fuel and pushing when you can't and learning when not to push. It's a fun racetrack. I wish we didn't really have to save as much fuel as we did, but what are you gonna do whenever TNT is known for running green flag to green or from white flag or checkered flag to green flag, whatever you want to say. But it was a good race, but I wish we didn't have to save as much fuel.
Yeah. Typical Kentucky boy don't know what the green flag and checkered flag means.
Green flag to green flag.
Green flag to green flag. Well, I will tell you that last run I saw when you pitted, and I thought, I think me and Rick even said, well, Toby's got to pit, and you never pit. You run out coming out of turn 4. You was able to hold on to second, but was you sweating it there on that last run, looking at that fuel gauge?
Yeah, usually the whole run, like I'll go past what the crew chief was saying, which is usually you cross the line with like 0.7 to go or 0.7 in fuel, and I listened to the crew chief that last pit stop whenever I should have won an extra lap, so I had to really save, and then saving as much as I did, I felt like I burnt the right front, especially in 3 and 4, but I run out coming out of 4, and luckily enough, I had a big enough buffer on P3 that I could bring it P2.
You had a great race, and good job for saving what you did, and could have been more or could have been worse, but as you said, you took it from green flag to green flag and got you a P2.
Yeah, I'll do it, man. You know all about that fuel saving, so it works sometimes and sometimes it don't.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on your P2. And Rick, you are with the winner for the 18th time this year, I think.
I'm getting real tired of having this conversation with the same guy over and over again, and I will tease you until you stop winning all these races, Jacob Bradley. Another dominant performance, but I mean, jokes aside, man, it's unbelievable what you've done in Thursday Night Thunder. Caution-free races being dominated by fuel strategy. We were talking in the, while we were silent, Matt Seeger saying if we add some more fuel, we'll finally nerf all your winning. But that's what it's come to, and that is an immense sign of, at least in Thursday Night Thunder circles, for us, that right there shows the respect and the admiration we have for how many races you've won in such dominant fashion, because now we're trying to come up with ways to keep you from winning. We're trying to fix the races in a way that you won't win as much. Did you expect this to be the case in your first Thursday Night Thunder season?
No. I thought it was going to be a little bit more competitive. I hadn't driven the Gen 4 in a while, and I mean, especially tonight, I think I was talking with you about 10 minutes into the practice session, and I was asking you for advice because I bought the track right before the session opened. and I took the lead early in the race and was running there. Kind of just came up with the fuel strategy on the fly, and it played out in the end.
Beautifully. And another masterpiece. And what can we say? 6 wins this season in 9 starts, and the road to the championship becomes a bit shorter. 403 points is your total right now. You have a 48-point margin over Matt Seeger in the second position, with the break and then New Hampshire in 2 weeks. Is it your championship?
I mean, we still got Talladega, so there's still one wild card, but once we get around that one, I think we can figure out if it's still on or not.
We'll see. With all the love in the world and with all the respect that we can muster for what will eventually be a future champion, I am sick and tired of having these conversations with you on the top step of the podium, but I love that the 10th season of Thursday Night Thunder turns out to be an incredibly special one. Congratulations on the win, JB. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
There you go.
Well, Ryan, that does it. That puts a cap on all of this, doesn't it? That is 3. What I was gonna say. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I have no idea at all, Ryan. You know what it is, man. It's a dominant race, and the season continues.
Absolutely. We'll pick it up in 2 weeks. Yeah, it was a great race. Any race with 20 plus drivers that you run, as Toby would say, green flag to green flag, it's an awesome race. I mean, there's a lot of leagues out there that, they run races with 10, 15 people and they have 35 cautions. And TNT is just, it's special, man. I mean, it really is. It's something that a lot of leagues strive to become, because you get that strategy, because you don't have the cautions, you don't have the people that are just causing issues. I mean, it's just respectful racing all night long, and that's exactly what we saw tonight. And it was definitely some different strategies, but overall, just an awesome race. And hey, we'll do it again in 2 weeks, and maybe we'll get a new winner. But didn't we do a bounty on Noah Belleville a couple years ago? Maybe we need a bounty on Jacob Bradley.
That's a good idea. We're gonna start putting out cash money for the next person to beat this guy, and I'll throw a couple bucks in the ring. We'll make it worth their while. But we get a break. We finally get a break. I'm excited for that. It's always a fun night of racing. It really is. Thursday Night Thunder will not be racing next week, but the ABN Champ Car World Series will. I will be in the booth with Olivia Hayward next Wednesday night, 8:30 on the Aero Broadcast Network. We've got IndyCars at Sonoma, and then 2 weeks from now, if you don't know, take a look at the right side of your screen. Round number 10 at the New Hampshire Speedway, April 17, and the championship marches onward. We go to the Glen in 3 weeks. I'm excited. For Ryan Pennell, for Jacob Bradley, Matt Seeger, Toby Estes, for everybody who has ever had a thing to do with Thursday Night Thunder, thank you so much for coming through. Thanks for having fun with us, chatting a little bit, and just enjoying some racing. Until that next race, everybody, please stay safe. Do take care of each other, and we will see you all around the corner.